So how many people have seen it? How many people have watched the film Mowgli? Hey, you seen it? I have just seen it. I got all this warning. Oh, it's not for kids. It's very gross. It's very violent and everything else. And that was from like the older generation, the grandparents and stuff. Probably the people that have been brought up by Disney. So it says don't let the wee ones watch it. Right, it's a certificate 12. So over there, I don't know, it might America or other places might be PG-13. So it's early teens, really, that you want to watch it. So I sat down and I was thinking the worst. What was going to happen is Shere Khan going to tear really lumps as he's talking viciously and everything else. And no, I enjoyed it. I really did. I loved it. Now, I've seen a lot of different versions of The Jungle Book, right? I've seen many versions, live ones, animated ones, live version of the animated ones, and totally complete different stories and stuff. But this one is said to be a lot closer to the book, which, being not a big reader, but I have read books, and I'd rather see something that was very much from a book, so then I know I'm getting the source material and I know I'm getting the story it was always meant to be. So I sat down and I watched Mowgli, and I thought it was terrific. And there were, without any spoiling, there were characters that have been in the Jungle Book that, in the Disney version, that doesn't appear in this. So you know that was sort of their version, and they introduced those characters that didn't exist. So in the book, and I thought brilliant, and the journey that Mowgli goes on was quite astounding as well, and I just don't get the need for, see, people will watch something like a Disney film and it will stick in their minds. So when the actual film comes around and it's more close to the book, people don't like it. So even when something is coming from the actual source, as i.e. the book, people tend not to like it because they've been brainwashed by what film companies have done to it, i.e. Disney. So that sort of brings me down to the point of comics and Batman and Superman comics, or let's say Marvel comics or whatever, right? So when people have been watching, say, Christopher Reeve movies, or they've been watching Marvel movies, they think, right, that's their character, this is it. But when you try to make a film that's a lot closer to the source, then that's a different kettle of fish. And so, and now I believe when Mowgli came out, a lot of people were stunned, and I've noticed a couple of YouTube saying this isn't for kids, this is, parents went away from this film horrified and whatnot, and I'm thinking, I'm remembering the trailers for this, and I'm remembering, the interviews, and they've always said this isn't Disney, this is closed book. So you're talking about a guy, Richard Kipling, who wrote about the jungle. Then you sort of know if he's writing about the jungle, it's not that, animals are going to be animals. But rest assured, this film has not really any gross moments in it. It's not bloody, it's not this and that. It's actually respectable, very respectable to all the characters and to the animals. Now, here's the thing. I've just looked at Netflix Mowgli and it says Andy Serkis directs a star-studded cast in this dark retelling of Rudyard Kipling's The Jungle Book. Of this dark retelling. Says it all. It's a 12. Draw your own conclusions. But again, people don't like change. People don't like something that is going to tamper with what they believe to be the true version, even though it's wrong. The true version is the book itself. Read the book and everything else, and when you Google The Jungle Book, you'll see umpteen different versions of the movies of The Jungle Book that they've done. But this is said to be the closest, and I thoroughly loved it. And I respect it. Now, and that brings up the point of the obstacles that people have when it comes to making movies. It's not about how close you are to the actual comics or book source or the actual source. It's whether the audience have already been pre-programmed into those sort of characters of what went on before. That's why it seems to be hard, and you've got to spoon feed the population. Take the X-Men for instance. They've done a couple of X-Men films with Patrick Stewart, and then they had to bring the new cast and then do a mixture of the two of them so they can actually go out and retell it. And so you feel like they've not just dashed on what's before and everything. And you shouldn't feel the need to do that. You should feel the need especially if it's coming from source material. Spider-Man Homecoming, totally different. That has got nothing to do with the comics. That has nothing to do with the actual character. And that is just Disney's version of that character, which is totally wrong, and it should be treated as though maybe what has gone on before. It's just beyond me how people can't seem to grasp that you can take different versions of something and accept it for what it is. Okay? Now after watching, say, Spider-Man, I've got my version of Spider-Man, which I believe to be closer to the source, which was the one before Tom Holland, the one that we've got, not the first Sam Raimi trilogy, but the next one, That, to me, is Spider-Man. Now, that was his closest that he ever got. Then they made the sequel to that, which was totally pants. So, that's my theory, and that's what sprung to mind when I watched Mowgli. That people had just been sort of, unacceptable. They didn't just accept this film for being something completely different, and that's why it was set back a year so the Jungle Book could have its sort of story, and then the next year, instead of rehashing the Jungle Book, instead of rehashing what we just seen the previous year, Mowgli set out to be true to the book and something different that you hadn't seen before. And don't get me wrong, there are a lot of similarities to what's gone on before. Disney didn't just, hack it to bits, and it did stay true to some areas of the actual story. But Mowgli really just felt something new and something fresh. And it would be a film I would actually sit and watch again. Now, here's the main thing that I wanted to talk about. China. American critics. Here we go. So we get all this stuff about how Aquaman opened up in China, right? Now, the real reason behind them opening up is anybody's guess. Okay, it's not for me to say why they did it that way, or was it any tribute or any connection between the director or anything like that. Or, and this is the reason I would like to believe, that Warner Brothers has caught on, finally. After so many critics, Rotten Tomatoes and whatnot, and all the biased people that against Warner Brothers DC, Warner Brothers has got on to the fact that they should not listen to critics. They shouldn't bend their ways and listen to these haters, these biased views, because they know that the audience won't listen. The fans won't listen to these Rotten Tomato scores or biased critics or anything like that. I mean, you look at some of the stuff that they've been saying about Aquaman. Some of the ones that didn't like it. Some comments like that it was just too much under the water CGI for Aquaman. I felt like I was in an aquarium in Aquaman. The ability to speak underwater was what really destroyed the film for me. And I'm thinking, I bet you if we took 2000 Leagues Under the Sea movie that came out years ago, right, and brought that out, you would have a different version because it was done by Disney. You know, this is 2000 Leagues Under the Sea, about a submarine at the same time where, you know, the most technology that most of the world had was wooden ships. But no, you're like us to believe there's a big human octopus, Atlantis, and a ship made of metal, invented by somebody on the planet. At the same time, everybody else is sailing on wooden ships and have not got the technology, but there's a secret guy out there that has invented this sort of submarine that looks like, you know, a beast of under the seas. But to me, that seems to be okay to watch instead of something that captures it all. Aquaman had Stingray, which basically foreshadowed what was going to happen to this movie. It is a fantasy movie about people that live under the sea. What were you going to say about what was that other film? Bedknobs and Broomsticks. When you had this family of children and people dancing about under the sea with cartoon fish. How much more do you need for a film to tell you that this is fantasy and shouldn't be taken serious? But what Warner Brothers did was fantastic. And they basically stuck the finger up to America, who has most of these website clickbait YouTube video people are. They opened up in China, and people in America or wherever, right? They were annoyed, right? But the fans thought brilliant strategy, because the people in China went to see this movie without all this biased negativity against the movie. They went out and they watched it, and it's made brilliant. Then it came to the UK. Again, not a lot of the critics of Rotten Tomatoes could get a hold of this film. Again, it done brilliant. It's done. And then when it finally gets to America, that is when the Rotten Tomato scores and bias and everything else critics start. But guess what? It's already top of the bill. So, my theory is two things. One, Warner Brothers should release every single DC movie out in the unbiased China. Unless, of course, it's got sort of demons or things like that that are not allowed. But I think they should really release a movie overseas first, in some parts of the world, right? Because that way then the box office will speak more than the critics, right? And the next thing, of course, is what I first of all started this video talking about, is people watching a movie that may have history of it being done before, but accepting the differences. You know, just because it doesn't have the elements that you're used to in a movie, like King Louis singing "I Want to Be Like You," to something more of a serious tone and more of a meaning of Mowgli and Shere Khan. Is you don't need, no film should be the same just because it has the same title. Right? No Batman film should be the same. No Superman movie should be the same because it shares the same title. So let me know what you think. And thanks for listening. And comments, likes, subscribe, whatever. I hate saying that stuff. You know, but I watch so many YouTube videos and they all say it at the end. But maybe it's just to make sure that they're not wasting the time. But listen, if you're not wanting to do that, it's fine by me. Again, I make these wee videos just for myself on my wee mobile phone here. Not computer, not fancy green screen behind me. Just getting it out there. Thank you.